Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I am going to be predicting Conor McGregor versus Max Holloway, UFC 329 International Fight Week. Let's get straight into it. Starting with the first fight on the card, we have is Cody Durden versus Alessandro Costa. Cody Durden is 18-10-1, and his last fight was against Rafael Filho, where he got a decision win, and Alessandro Costa is 16-5, and his last fight was against Matt Schnell, where he got a TKO in the first round and won that fight. Now, this is how I think the fight's going to go. Round 1, I think Durden will likely try to close distance early, push Costa to the fence, and work wrestling entries. Costa's key is keeping the fight at range and making Durden pay for every entry with clean counters. Round 2, this is where my pick becomes stronger. If Costa defends early takedowns and keep the fight standing, his cleaner striking and accumulation of damage should start to take over. I think the finish potential. Costa has the sharper offense striking, and Durden can get hit clean while he's forcing entries. As exchanges build, damage could start to pile up quickly. So I'm going to go with Alessandro Costa by TKO in the second round. I think the cleaner striking, better damage output, and strong defensive awareness lead to a mid-fight stoppage. I think Alessandro Costa will get this win here. I mean, he is the minus 270 favourite here, so I do have him to win this fight. Next fight on the card we have is Ryan Garner versus Zach Reese. Ryan Garner is 9-1, and his last fight was against Jose Medina, where he got a TKO in the first round and won that fight. And Zach Reese is 10-3, and his last fight was against Mikael Pereira and got a decision loss. Now, this is how I think the fight's going to go. Round 1, I think Garner will likely push forward immediately, trying to close distance and land big shots before Reese can establish his range. Reese's advantage is reach and timing, but that only works if he's given space. Finish potential. This is a classic chaos matchup. Garner's path is explosive pressure and heavy hooks inside, while Reese's danger comes from long-range counters and knees up the middle. So for my prediction, I'm going to go with Ryan Garner by KO in the first round. I think early pressure, heavy hands, and forcing Reese into close range distant exchanges lead to a fast finish. So yeah, I do see Ryan Garner picking up a clean win here by the first round. Next fight on the card, we do have Farid Basharat versus John Garza. Farid Basharat is 15-0, and his last fight was against Gene Matsumoto, where he got a decision win. And his opponent is Gene Garza, who is 6-1, and his last fight was against Josh Walker, where he got a TKO in the second round and won that fight. That's how I think the fight's going to go. Garza will likely look to start aggressively and test Basharat with pressure and power. Basharat's goal will be to stay patient, establish his jab, and mix in wrestling to keep Garza from finding a rhythm. Basharat's technical advantage should begin to show. His ability to switch between striking and grappling can slow Garza's offense, while his cleaner combinations and positional control help him build a lead. And as the fight enters the final round, Basharat's composure and conditioning become major factors. He should be able to dictate where the fight takes place and continue landing the cleaner, more effective offense. So for that, I'm going to say Farid Basharat to win by decision. A superior technique, fight IQ, and well-rounded skills allow him to control the fight and earn a clean decision victory. So yeah, Farid Basharat by decision here for me. Next fight on the card we have is Damian Pinas versus Cesar Almeida. Damian Pinas is 9-1, and his last fight was against Wes Schultz, where he got a TKO in the first round and won that fight. And his opponent is Cesar Almeida, who is 7-2, and his last fight was against Cesare Alexandre, where he got a decision loss. Now, this is how I think the fight's going to go. Almeida will likely try to slow things down, use cleaner technique, and avoid getting drawn into a brawl. Pinas will push forward, trying to land heavier early and force mistakes. If Almeida can't fully deter the pressure, Pinas' activity and forward momentum should start to win exchanges, even if the cleaner shots are shared. So round 3, if Pinaz maintains pace without overcommitting, his pressure and output can edge rounds on volume and aggression, even in a close fight. So for this, I'm going to go with Damian Pinaz by decision. Consistent pressure, higher output, and sustained aggression edge to a competitive 3-round fight. So yeah, Damian Pinaz by decision for me. Next fight on the card we have is Tracy Cortez versus Kong Wang. Tracy Cortez is 12-3 and her last fight was against Erin Blanchfield, where she got submitted in the second round and lost that fight. And Kong Wang is 9-1 and her last fight was against Eduardo Moro, where she got a decision win. Now this is how I think the fight's going to go. Cortez will likely to try and establish control early through wrestling and clinch work. Wang's goal will be to stay upright, reverse positions while possible, and keep the fight striking. I think this becomes a key swing round in round 2 if Wang can consistently defend takedowns or quickly get back to her feet. Her pressure and output can start to overwhelm Cortez in striking exchanges. Round 3, cardio and momentum matter most here. Cortez is consistent, but if she's unable to sustain control time, Wang's forward pressure and activity could start swinging the judges. So for that, I'm going to go with Kong Wang by decision. I think stronger striking pressure, takedown defense, and higher activity rate help her edge a competitive 3-round fight. So Kong Wang by decision for me. Next fight on the card we have is Kai Kamaka 3 versus Luke Riley. Kai Kamaka 3, or I think that's what you call it, I don't fucking know, is 18-7-1, and his last fight was against Dakota Hope, where he got a decision win. And Luke Riley is 13-0, and his last fight was against Michael Aswell Jr., where he got a decision win. Now this is how I think the fight's going to go. Kamaka will likely try to make this physical early, using pressure and volume to test Riley's composure. Riley's job is to stay disciplined, control range, and use his footwork to set up clean counters while avoiding unnecessary brawls. Round 2, I think once Riley has found his timing, his cleaner boxing and sharper combinations should begin to break Kamaka down. If Kamaka continues to pressure forward, Riley can capitalize accurate power shots that lead to a stoppage. I think Riley's precision and ability to land clean as the fight settles gives him a great opportunity to find a finish. As Kamaka absorbs more damage, the referee could be forced to step in, so I am going to go with Luke Riley by KO. In the second round, sharp counter-striking, superior timing, and powerful combinations overwhelm Kamaka for a second round knockout for Luke Riley. So I'm going to go with Luke Riley by KO in the second round here. Next fight on the card we have is Cody Garbrandt versus Adrian Yanez. Cody Garbrandt is 15-7 and his last fight was against Long Zhao, where he got a decision win, and Adrian Yanez, his opponent, is 17-6-1 and his last fight was a draw against Ricky Simone. Now this is how I think the fight's going to go. Garbrandt will likely come out very fast, looking to land early counters and straight rights. Yanez's goal is to stay composed, absorb the early burst, and find his rhythm without overreacting. Round 2, if Yanez survives the early explosiveness from Garbrandt, his higher volume, durability, and cleaner combinations work can start to take over. Yanez tends to build momentum as fights progress, and Garbrandt becomes more hittable if he misses early opportunities or slows even slightly. So for that, I'm going to go with Adrian Yanez by TKO in the second round. Sustained pressure, cleaning combinations, and capitalizing on defensive openings lead to a mid-fight stoppage. So Adrian Yanez by decision for me. Next fight on the card we have is Gable Stevenson versus Alicia Ellison. Gable Stevenson is 3-0 and his last fight was against Alexander Romanov and won by tech fall in the second round on RAF. Alicia Ellison is 5-2 and his last fight was against Brando Pericic, where he got a TKO in the first round and lost that fight. Round 1, I think Stevenson will almost certainly close distance immediately, shoot early and look to impose pure wrestling dominance. Ellison's main goal is survival, keep the fight standing and avoiding being grounded early. I think even though I got KO in the first round, the most realistic danger zones are actually the ground and pound stoppage after takedowns or a quick slam followed up strike situation. Stevenson doesn't need much space to overwhelm opponents physically. So for that, I'm going to go with Gable Stevenson by KO in the first round. I think elite wrestling pressure, physical dominance, and immediate takedown control lead to a fast finish. So yeah, Gable Stevenson by KO in the first round. I think that's the most obvious prediction, to be honest. Now for our feature prelim of the night, which I'm surprised is a fucking prelim. Robert Whittaker versus Nikita Krylov. This is Robert Whittaker's debut. I think it's his first fight in light heavyweight. Anyway, Robert Whittaker is 26-9, and his last fight was against Rene Ritter, where he got a decision loss. And Nikita Krylov is 31-11. Jesus Christ. And his last fight was against Modestas Bukauskas, where he got a TKO in the third round and won that fight. Now this is how I think the fight's going to go. Krylov will likely come out aggressive, trying to push pace and make this chaotic. Whittaker's focus will be reading timing, defending early pressure, and settling into his boxing rhythm and his leg kicks as well. Round 2, I think Whittaker's technical edge starts to show here. His jab, footwork, and defensive awareness allow him to start winning exchanges more cleanly as Krylov's output becomes less sharp. Krylov will get caught when pressured into exchanges, especially against elite strikers who's reading his timing. Whittaker's position increases as he settles into range. So for that, well, hopefully this happens. I'm going to go with Robert Whittaker by TKO in the second round. I think elite timing, clean boxing, and mid-fight adjustments lead to a mid-fight stoppage after breaking Krylov down. So yeah, TKO in the second round for Robert Whittaker. Now for our main card opener, we have is King Green versus Terrence McKinney. King Green is 35-17-1, and his last fight was against Jeremy Stevens, where he got a sub in the first round and won that fight. And his opponent is Terrence McKinney, who is 18-8, and his last fight was against Kyle Nelson, where he got a TKO in the first round and won that fight. Now this is how I think the fight's going to go. McKinney will almost certainly come out at full speed, looking to blitz with wrestling scrambles or heavy ground and pound. Green's job is survival, whether the early storm defend takedowns and force McKinney into deeper waters. I think this is exactly McKinney's window. If he can get clean entries early, he can overwhelm opponents before they settle. Green is experienced enough to be dangerous if he survives, but the early chaos is the biggest factor. So for that, I'm going to go with Terrence McKinney by TKO in the first round. Explosive start, overwhelming pace, and early grappling pressure lead to a fast finish before Green can get settled. So yeah, I'm going to go with Terrence McKinney by TKO in the first round here. Next fight on the card we have is Brandon Royval versus Lona Kavanagh. Brandon Royval is 17-9, and his last fight was against Manel Kape, and Lona Kavanagh is 10-1, and Manel Kape got a TKO in the first round and lost that fight. Lona Kavanagh is 10-1, and his last fight was against Brandon Moreno, where he got a decision win. Now this is how I think the fight's going to go. Round 1, I think Royval will likely come out looking to create chaos immediately, with consistent pressure, scrambles, and unpredictable attacks. Kavanagh's key is staying composed, using his footwork, and making Royval pay for every aggressive entry. If he finds his range early, his clean counters and sharp combinations could quickly shift the momentum. So yeah, this is where I think Royval's aggressive style can leave openings, and Kavanagh has the speed and precision to capitalize if he lands clean. While Royval is presenting forward, he has the power to force a quick stoppage before the fight settles. So I'm going to go with my boy Lona Kavanagh by TKO in the first round. Sharp counter-striking, excellent timing, and early accuracy to catch Royval during an aggressive exchange for a first-round stoppage. My guy Lona Kavanagh is going to finish him. I think Royval's chin's kind of dusted, to be honest, after the Manel Kape loss and the Joshua Van decision loss. After that war, yeah, I think you finished, mate. So yeah, Lona Kavanagh by TKO in the first round. Let's go. Now for our next fight on the card, we have is Corey Sandhagen versus Mario Batista 2. This is the rematch. They fought a few, I don't even know how long ago, but they fought before. Anyway, Corey Sandhagen is 18-6 in his last fight was against Merab Dvalishvili, where he got a decision loss, and Mario Batista is 17-3 in his last fight was against Vinicius Oliveira, where he got a sub in the second round and won that fight. Sandhagen will likely try to establish range early with movement, feints, and long striking. Batista's key is closing distance safely, mixing levels, and avoiding getting picked apart at range. Round 2, I think becomes a tactical swing round. Sandhagen's volume and creativity can win exchanges, but Batista's consistency, pressure, and grappling threats can slow the pace and disrupt rhythm. Round 3, I think cardio and control become crucial. Sandhagen usually stays active late, but Batista's steady output and ability to neutralize chaos can make this a close, gritty fight. So I am going to go with Mario Batista by decision. I think disciplined pressure, grappling mix-ups, and consistent control to edge out Sandhagen in a close 3-round fight. So give me Mario Batista by decision. Now for our co-main event of the night, we got the Frenchman versus the Englishman. We got Benoit Saint-Denis versus Paddy the Baddy Pimblett. Benoit Saint-Denis is 17-3 and his last fight was against Dan Hooker, where he got a TKO in the second round and won that fight. Paddy Pimblett is 23-4 and his last fight was against Justin Gaethje, where he got a decision loss. Round 1, I think Saint-Denis will likely come out at a relentless pace, applying pressure with aggressive striking, clinch work, and takedown attempts. Pimblett's focus will be staying composed, defending the early onslaught, and avoiding getting stuck underneath for long periods while looking for opportunities and scrambles. Round 2, I think if Pimblett survives the early pressure, his slick grappling and submission game becomes major weapons. As the scramble develops, he can capitalize on even the smallest mistake, taking the back or locking up a submission. I think Pimblett is at his best when fights become chaotic on the ground. His ability to attack from multiple positions make him a consistent submission threat, and Saint-Denis' aggressive style could give him the opening he needs. So I'm going to go with my boy, Paddy the Baddy Pimblett, the plus 130 underdog. I'm going to go with Paddy the Baddy Pimblett by submission in the second round. After weathering the early pressure, Pimblett takes advantage of its scramble and secures a second round submission. So give me Paddy the Baddy Pimblett by submission in the second round. Now, the fight we've all been wanting. The main event. Conor McGregor, versus Max Blessed Holloway. Conor McGregor is 22-6, and his last fight was against Dustin Poirier, where he got a TKO in the first round and lost that fight. Max Holloway is 27-9, and his last fight was against Charles Oliveira, where he got a decision loss. And this is how I think the fight's going to go, in my opinion. McGregor's best window is around round 1 and 2. He'll look to control distance, land the counter left hand, and make Holloway respect his power early. If he finds timing early, he's extremely dangerous. Holloway, however, will immediately push pace, high volume, consistent combinations, and force McGregor to work defensively. Rounds 3 to 4, I think Holloway's output typically becomes overwhelming, and opponents slow or hesitant. McGregor's power is still dangerous, but his defensive responsibility increases as volumes build. I think if it gets to round 5, I don't think it will. If it gets here, Holloway's pace and durability are usually decisive, unless McGregor lands something huge. But yeah, I do think this fight's going to end by a finish. And the person who I think's going to win, even though I love this guy to win, I'm going to go with Max Holloway by TKO in the third round. Max Holloway by TKO in the third round is my pick. I think overwhelming volume, pressure, and pace eventually breaks McGregor's defensive structure after early exchanges. Yeah, I think I'd love McGregor to win, get the comeback back. I mean, that would be sick. I just don't see it happening. I think Max Holloway will have McGregor up by the fence, finish him there, bam, bam, bam. Max Holloway has some bloody good combinations on him, and I think, being inactive as well for 5 years from Conor's side, it's not going to... I don't know if it's going to work in his favour. I mean, it's a big gap, 5 years. It's no joke. I'd love Conor to win, like I said, but I think Max is going to finish him. I think Max will get the win. And then the trilogy happens. No, that'll be cool. I don't think it will, though. I think, after this, I think McGregor's done. He'll be finished after this fight. Even though I said he has like a fight in April or something, I don't know if he'll do it. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if they'll do it. I don't know. I'm not sure. But yeah, I do think Max Holloway by TKO in the third round here. But that is it. Thank you for watching my predictions for UFC 329 Conor McGregor versus Max Holloway. Hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe to my channel. It'll be a massive help. Thanks for watching. Take care. Goodbye.